Welcome to Unconventional Success, where we are rewriting the rules for female solopreneurs. I'm your host, Tiffany Dawson, a business and mindset coach. I help women who value freedom to earn the income they need to facilitate the lifestyle they want. I'll share interviews with successful female founders and my own tips on how to build a bulletproof mindset, make your own rules for your reality, and think strategically about your business so you can earn free-flowing revenue while spending quality time with your family. Remember, you can do life and business in a totally unconventional way and be wildly successful at the same time. The only person you need permission from is you. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Unconventional Success. I've got a great topic of conversation with you today that I want to bring your attention to, bring your awareness to, because this time of year can be quite a tricky time to keep on top of your mindset from a business and personal perspective if you're not intentional. So take this episode as a reminder, as a bit of self-awareness exercise, because I know that talking about this topic is as much a reminder for myself as it is for you and all of the women in my Overflow Collective, all of my private clients. This is a conversation that we are having across the board, no matter who I'm talking to. So we'll dive into it. But before we get started, I want to share quickly about my Christmas party that I hosted last week. If you're following me on socials or if you listened to my episode a couple of weeks ago, I talked about creating this Christmas party. And so to take you back, I've been in business for 4 years by myself. Before that, for 8, 9, 10 years, I worked in corporate engineering, meaning there were always these huge corporate Christmas parties. They were always so exciting. I got invited not only to my office Christmas parties, but clients would take us out. When I was people's clients, they'd take me to, when I was in Australia, they'd take me to all these different cool summer events. I was once offered a flight to go to Brussels from London when I was working in London to go to this Christmas party. Like, there were just so many cool Christmas end of year events that I used to get to go to. But since starting my business, I've not had that, right? And I think that this is the only time of year really where I'm quite genuinely jealous of my friends who do work in corporate or work for someone else. Other times of the year, totally fine. Like, so happy to be working for myself. I get the freedom. I get any time off I want. I don't have to feel guilty if I'm taking some time off. Like, this is how I've structured my business, right? But at Christmas time, who's throwing the parties for me? So I thought this year, screw it. I'm going to create my own. I'm sure there are other women out there in my local area who feel the same. Like, so many business owners who are women who work alone here. Let's put the feelers out and see if anyone else wants to join me for my own quote unquote office Christmas party. So I created it. I invited women. I had loads of women who actually couldn't come because obviously it's such a busy time of year. Also, I think I set it on a date that was super popular for schools to do their Christmas nativities or end of year plays, all that kind of stuff. So loads of women couldn't make it, but still a lot of women could come. And it was just such a beautiful afternoon. It was last Wednesday. It was just so nice. Like, I'll try my best to describe the vibe, but honestly, I just wish you all could have been there because it was such a beautiful afternoon of connection. And what I had set as an intention for the afternoon just really came to life. It was so beautiful to see. And what I had envisioned was just inviting business besties, like whether I knew them for a long time or I just met them or I just kind of reached out to them to come to this party. I wanted it to be an afternoon of just really relaxed, cozy vibes, cozy chats on the sofa, um, just a time to connect and get to know each other, and it not to feel like a networking event. Like I really wanted it to feel like a office Christmas party, you know, getting together, talking about the year, getting to know each other on a different level. And that's exactly what happened. And honestly, women left the party saying, "Oh, that was such a lovely afternoon. What an amazing bunch of friends you've got. I met so many beautiful women. We're going to keep in touch." And being someone who is a connector, that just really warmed my heart. So, yeah, I'm so glad that I did it. I keep saying this over and over again on this podcast. I'm just not someone who really plans much stuff, like events, gatherings, all the social stuff, all the holidays. They are planned by my husband or my friends. I'm barely the one who does it, but I am really glad that I put myself out there and did that, because not only was it a really lovely experience for myself, but I can see that so many other beautiful connections were created as well. So that was my Christmas party. I'm hoping more of you can come next year. And yeah, I even had people on LinkedIn say, "Oh, I wish I could be there. If you're in Barcelona next year, can you host one here?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. I would love to do that. That could absolutely be my next business model, going around the world crafting Christmas events for female entrepreneurs. How amazing would that be? Maybe I can make that come to life next year." But yeah, loads of women who couldn't come were just like, "Can you please keep me posted if you do another event next year? Because I really wanted to come, but I just had this that I needed to go to instead." So watch this space if you are someone who is interested in coming to my next event, which will most likely be in Bristol, where I live. Come and sign up to my newsletter. I'll leave the link in the show notes. Sign up to my newsletter, because that's where you will absolutely, definitely be first notified about any future events coming up. Let's go on to today's topic. So, energy leaks in the holiday season. You may have heard me talk about energy leaks in the past before. I won't go into it too much because I've planned a few episodes in the new year about energy leaks, but just to give you a really quick overview of what I'm talking about. What's an energy leak? It is something that drains your energetic levels. So it could be as simple and small as something that's kind of like small and niggling at you. So, for example, my husband has, I don't know why, I don't know how he walks, but basically all of his socks. I'm just laughing because this seems so trivial, but just bear with me. All of his socks gets holes in them really quickly, and I think what happens is he buys a bunch of socks and they all develop holes at the same time. But sometimes, you know, life just gets in the way. He forgets to order more socks, and he'll spend weeks and weeks with holes in his socks, and every day he'll be like, "Oh, there's another hole," or "My toe's gotten stuck," or "I just like stepped in a puddle and my whole foot's wet now." It is like the tiniest thing, right? But it is a small annoyance that niggles at him daily until he fixes it. So an energy leak can be as small as that. Something that's kind of like just slightly annoying and makes you feel kind of not that abundant. Imagine walking around with holes in your socks all the time. And if you're fortunate enough to not have to do that, like you can afford new socks, then it just kind of doesn't make you feel amazing about yourself at the start of every day when you're getting dressed. Energy leaks can also be huge things, like big life events where you may not have control over them. So, for example, your child gets really ill and you're in and out of hospital for months at a time. That's an energy leak. It takes up your energy. It doesn't give you energy. It really drains it. You're worried. You're tired physically, mentally, emotionally. It drains your energy. energy leaks in business can be stuff like, so my previous business coach who I worked with, the way that she asked me to pay her was by wiring her money into her bank account each month, which I'm totally fine with. But the thing for her that was an energy leak, I noticed, was that every month she basically has like a manual list of all of her clients, and she has to follow up with them manually each month, saying like, reminder, your next payment is due tomorrow, or reminder, your payment was due yesterday or last week. And she just had to do that, and like it just takes that little bit of extra energy and remembering to chase up every time. And a few things come out of this, right? So one of them is the energy leak of having to remember. So everyone has different payment dates, remembering everyone's payment date and having to remind them each month on their specific date. That is an energy leak all of its own. But secondly, it's kind of the, I guess it's like a mental energy leak or an abundance energy leak, because it constantly feels like she was having to chase people up. Whereas for me, I set up an automatic system. I use the accounting software Xero, where you can create repeating invoices and set it on like a monthly date. And you can also set it on an end date. So it's like if a client had signed up with me for a 5-month payment plan, I could set up the repeatable invoices at the very start and say, okay, by May next year, it stops. So I never had to think about it. And that was an energy leak that I never had, but my previous coach did have. So that's an example, a few examples of what energy leaks could be. I want to talk today about holiday season energy leaks, specifically related to the Christmas New Year period, where a lot of us are taking time off, a lot of us are spending time with family. And as business owners, I think that we experience very specific energy leaks. And tell me if this relates to you. I would love to hear your thoughts. Come and send me a DM on Instagram if you think of any energy leaks that you specifically have that maybe your friends who aren't entrepreneurs don't have. I'm going to list a few just to get your own brain juices going. But while I'm talking, you might come up with a few of your own energy leaks that you can foresee happening, or maybe ones that you've experienced in years past. I want you to jot them down as they come up, okay? Because the more you can be aware of your energy leaks, the more you can do something about it. I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of personal development, creating personal awareness, because once you're aware, you can then do something about it. You can bury your head in the sand for as long as you like and ignore the problem, and maybe that feels good to you for a certain amount of time. But being aware of something and then having the power to fix it, that is what's empowering about personal development and personal awareness work. So really want you to not just listen in on this conversation today, but to really start thinking about, okay, how does this relate to me? Does this energy relate to me, or is there a similar one that I can foresee happening for myself? So let's dive in. So the first one that comes off the top of my head, and I'm very lucky to not have to deal with a lot of this, but I know from a lot of my clients and my friends, during the holiday season, they face a lot of their energy leaks to do with other people's drama. So family politics, getting involved in their family's problems and their lives, and maybe taking the brunt of people blaming them for stuff. So I know that those of you who have large families, or maybe even small families, that, sometimes family politics can come up during Christmas because it's so rare that you will all get together for a few days in a row any other time of year. So put anyone together, like put any group of people together for a few days. Like this is why the Big Brother household works so well, right? Put a few people together for any amount of time and arguments will start happening. You'll find things out, you'll trigger each other. And there's something about your family members triggering painful thoughts or feelings in you. And, you know, we could go into this topic like with so much depth, but we just don't have time to cover it today. There's something about family members that can really get right to the point of pain in your heart, or to get right to that point of annoyance. So this is a huge holiday season energy leak that a lot of people face, which is getting involved in other people's drama or getting triggered by other people in your family, or maybe your in-laws' family, right? So that's a huge one. Another one that's specific to entrepreneurs is feeling guilty for taking time off work. So this is a massive emotional energy leak, the feeling of guilt, because I know that when you're an entrepreneur, when you are a solopreneur, a sole business owner, you are the one who keeps things ticking. So it feels weird to take time out, because you know that when you're taking time out, nothing's happening in business unless you've set up automations in your business, right? But for a lot of us, you know, maybe we're not showing up on social media actively. Maybe we're not sending our weekly newsletters over the Christmas break. Maybe we're not putting out podcast episodes. And you might start feeling, especially when you've got a bit more time to yourself to reflect and to stop doing stuff, that this feeling of guilt or not being enough or not doing enough starts creeping in. So watch out for that huge emotional energy leak. And also just thinking about all the things you need to do or that you haven't done. So I was speaking to a client recently about how she just felt like there was so much to do. There's so many things she needed to do. She's got like 3 different jobs. Like she's got her own business. She lectures at a university and she was also employed at the time. She had all these different roles and she's a mum, right? So she's got all these different things and projects and different deadlines to achieve in the next week. And she was just so overwhelmed. And basically, she'd set herself up to feel like a complete failure because she hadn't really said, okay, this is a time for rest. This is a time for doing this part of my job. This is a time for doing all the marking I need to do for my university students. There were basically, if she wasn't doing the things that were on her to-do list, she was feeling guilty. So what we said was, okay, why not set time for things? So for this next week, when you're really busy, set aside time. So say from 5 till 7 p.m. is a time for rest and connecting with your family before your daughter goes to sleep. And then on Saturday morning, although you don't normally work on Saturdays, you know you need to, why not set aside a couple of hours to do all your university paper marking? So being able to be aware of the fact that she was feeling guilty about all the things she hadn't done because she hadn't planned in times to do it, that made her be able to set aside time and put some structure in place so that when she was in her assigned time for resting, she could just clear her mind. She didn't have to think about, oh, I haven't done this yet, I haven't done that yet, because she knew it had been taken care of. She knows that it's planned in the future. She's got ample time to do it, and she doesn't need to feel guilty for not doing it. So something for you to have a think about during the Christmas break. If this feeling of, oh, I haven't done this yet, or I need to do that when I start work again, these are all the things I need to do, just slow down. And maybe it is that you feel you need to forward plan a little bit so that you know it's taken care of. In January, in your first 2 weeks, you've already planned out all the things you need to do, and so you can relax. Take a breath and relax over the Christmas period. Sometimes we can feel guilty about feeling guilty about thinking about work. So this is the double whammy. And this is especially true, I've found in my experience of coaching mothers who are entrepreneurs, that it comes up when you become a parent a lot. Because not only do you feel guilty about not doing the work because you're taking time off or you're looking after your family or whatever, but then you feel guilty for feeling guilty because shouldn't you be enjoying that time with your family? Shouldn't you be being present? Shouldn't you be 100% focused on your child? Right? So this feeling guilty about feeling guilty can also slip in. And let me know if this resonates with you, because I know this is something that is true for a lot of the women in Overflow Collective, and it is something that we've spoken about a lot. So I'd love to hear if that's the case for you as well. And the final holiday energy leak that I want to bring your attention to is something that I personally discovered a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, it's pretty fresh for me. So I made a personal discovery that I started feeling really down about business every Monday afternoon. And this happened for a long time without me being aware of it. I was just like, oh, this is just normal entrepreneurship mindset stuff. But I kind of started seeing this pattern every Monday afternoon. I was like, oh, I just don't think business is going that well, or I need to do better, or all these other people are doing so much better than me. And what I realized was happening was that Mondays is a day that I don't work. I look after my son on Mondays. He doesn't go to nursery. We do swimming lessons in the morning, and then we do something together in the afternoon. But what was actually happening behind the scenes was, by Monday afternoon, all weekend and all of Monday, I had been kind of flicking on and off Instagram. And on Instagram, of course, I follow a lot of female business owners, other business coaches, women doing amazing things in business and absolutely smashing it, which is usually a source of inspiration. But it is not a source of inspiration for me during my time off, because all I'm thinking is, oh, she's posting or she's doing all this amazing stuff, and I'm not doing anything. I'm not creating anything in business right now. I'm not making any progress. What I have to remind myself on Mondays, especially, is that this is intentional. I have intentionally created my business so that I don't need to work on Mondays, so that I can spend quality time with my son, not so that I can be scrolling on Instagram feeling guilty about all the stuff I'm not doing. And I can foresee myself doing this over the Christmas break if I'm not intentional, if I'm not careful. So maybe this is resonating for you as well. During times when maybe you've taken holiday or you've been ill and you've not been able to work, in those quiet times, you might find yourself scrolling on Instagram or LinkedIn and seeing other people's amazing posts, and you like getting more and more agitated, thinking like, oh, I need to do something, but I can't. Think about that. Okay. So think about what your reactions to looking at other people's Instagram posts are during the holiday period, and acting accordingly. So for me on Mondays now, I try my best. I'm not always perfect at it, but I try my best to not open Instagram or LinkedIn, because I just know that if I do, I'll start feeling guilty and I won't be 100% present with my son, which is the whole reason I don't work on Mondays. Okay. Now, I've brought to your attention all of these possible energy leaks that you could be facing over the Christmas period when you've intentionally taken time off. Let's think about how can we overcome these or not experience them to the level that we might do if we weren't intentional about it. the number one thing for you to do over the holiday period, especially if you feel like you might be less in control of your mindset because, your routine's out of whack, you're spending time somewhere that's not your own home, you're spending time with family members or in-laws or people who you're not usually in such close proximity with. There are loads of things that will be out of your control, that are out of the norm, and they might be really, really lovely and heartwarming, but it might also somehow affect you negatively in business. This is what you need to do. Listen up. All you need to do before you take your break is to set an intention for the holiday season. Set an intention. Think about how you want to feel, how you want to come out of your holiday break feeling, thinking, behaving, so that during the holiday season, you're not thinking about what you're not doing or what's next. You're focusing on your intention for the holiday season. So a question or a sentence that you might like to finish, and maybe pause this episode to have a think about what it might be, is this: by the end of my holiday break, I want to feel whatever it is. So you might want to feel renewed, re-energized, like your heart feels full, that you've spent quality time with your family, that you were fully present, right? Your intention will be completely different. Maybe some of you do want to do some work over the holiday period. So think about what that might look like. What is your intention for that? Do you have a set boundary of work that you want to get done? What is it that you want to come out of the holiday season with, in terms of result for business or result for being present with your family? So I would love to hear from you what your intention for the holiday season is. I guess for me, thinking out loud now, I've not written it down yet, but I'm guessing that you're probably wondering what my holiday season intention is. So thinking on the fly right now, I want to come out of the holiday season feeling refreshed and energized for the new year. It's been a big, exciting year for me, also with its own hardships in many ways. So I want to come out of the holiday season feeling like I've reflected on the year that's passed, feeling proud of what I've achieved this year, and feeling excited, renewed, and refreshed for the year to come. And I know that before I start my holiday break, by the end of this week, so this is my last working week, I want to have a plan for the first quarter of the year. So content plan, plan for my intentions for the year, plan for Overflow Collective, all of the strategic parts of my business to be planned out so that I can just hit the ground running on day one of working in my business in January. And that feels really good to me. For some of you, that might not be your intention for the last week of the year. You might have so much client work to finish off or so many events that you need to attend that that's not in your intentions. So what I'm telling you is my intentions is not the correct thing to do. It's really based on your own needs and where you feel is right for you. So have a really good think about it. If you are feeling stuck, if you're not sure how to set an intention for the holiday season, if you feel like some of the energy leaks that you've thought about for the holiday season are just too big and overwhelming to even think about overcoming, I'm always here for you. So just reach out to me on Instagram. I would love to talk things out with you, help you out. I'll just send you a couple of messages to help you reflect on and think of some ways to deal with these challenges as much as possible, because at the end of the day, it is a holiday season. It is the Christmas break. It is supposed to be a time for you to relax and feel refreshed and fill your heart with connection, cozy times with your family and friends, to just relax and have a break. And that is exactly what you deserve after 2023, such a big year for all of us. So yes, come and ask me any questions that you would like on Instagram at Tiffany Dawson _. Otherwise, I will catch you in the next episode. Bye. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, I'd be so grateful if you could help me spread the word that this podcast is here to help other female solopreneurs just like you. Please give this podcast show a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts, and subscribe if you'd like to see when future episodes come out. If you have any questions about the topic spoken about today, I'm always happy to answer your questions. Come and find me over on Instagram at Tiffany Dawson _ and shoot me a DM. I'd love to help. Until next time, take care.